Hi, my name is Charleston White. To give you a little history and background information about who I am, man, I'm one of the first juveniles in the Fort Worth, Tarrant County area to be tried and adjudicated for the crime of murder at the age of 14. Me and three of my friends decided to go to a mall one day and steal some athletic jackets. At the time, starter jackets were very popular. We went inside of a Foot Locker. Three of us went in. We ran out with the starter jackets. As we approached the car, there was a good Samaritan, a guy by the name of Michael Levy, which is my victim, saw what was happening, and he tried to thwart us. He tried to stop us from getting away with those jackets, and in the process, my 16-year-old friend, actually 15-year-old friend, shot and killed Mr. Levy in the parking lot. Um, because of that offense, I was sentenced to 12 years under the determinate sentencing law here in the state of Texas. My co-defendants, the guy who actually pulled the trigger, was sentenced to 75 years. He's still incarcerated right now today, and his crime occurred back on September 18, 1991. The anniversary is actually coming up. My oldest friend, who was actually been 16 or 17 at the time, he was sentenced to a 99-year sentence and went back on appeal and received 25 years. And then my other friend, while out on bond, he was killed by the police in a high-speed chase in an unrelated incident crime that caused his death. Um, I spent right about 7 years in the Texas Youth Commission from the time I was 14 until I was 21. Upon 30 days prior to my 18th birthday, based on Texas juvenile law, you're required to go back to court to a transfer hearing to see your judge to determine whether or not if you'll be transferred to the adult prison system or if you'll remain in the juvenile custody or if you'll be paroled. Uh, this decision was really based on your behavior while in custody in the Texas Youth Commission, as well as the nature of your crime. Your victim's impact statement had a lot to do with the judge's decision. And based on my behavior, the state recommendation was for me to be transferred to the adult prison system. I was caught up into gang activities. The state had a very strong recommendation for me to be transferred until the Texas Department of Correction. But there was five of my house parents at the time. We called them house parents. I think right now today, the state as well as the youth refer to these individuals as juvenile correctional officers. But they put their jobs on the line, basically to come back in court and testify on my behalf. And these individuals then travel back to Fort Worth, Texas, to lie and tell the judge what a good student I was, because that wasn't true at all. They basically just came back to inform the judge the potential that they saw in me, and based on that potential and their testimony, my judge gave me a second chance at life and recommitted me back to the Texas Youth Commission. And it wasn't until I went back to the Texas Youth Commission that maturity played a big part in my changing, where I was able to get into the programs, the capital offender programs, and things of that nature, and begin to utilize a lot of the opportunities that was provided for me in the Texas Youth Commission. Upon getting out of TYC, man, I could honestly say that the Texas Youth Commission, getting state school, gave me all the tools and skills that I needed in life to be successful upon coming back to society if I chose to use those skills. For the most part, man, coming back to my environment played a big part in reshaping me after I got out of TYC. I was released in September of 1997, and during that era, dope selling, drug dealing was at its highest. Gang banging, the gang culture was pretty much trying to die out, and there was an environment within not just my home environment, but within my race, within my culture, within the music. It glorified drug dealing, man. So when I came home, that's pretty much what I took to. 9 months after getting out of TYC, I was caught drug trafficking with 10 pounds of marijuana in Oklahoma and 2 firearms. Based on that, that was an opportunity again for me to get my life in order because I was given another chance. I took it to trial. I had a mistrial, and after the mistrial, the courts, as well as the prosecuting attorney, offered me 6 months prison boot camp and 5 years deferred probation. So I took that. To make a long story short, man, I spent a lot of my 20s in the streets, being associated with the criminal elements of society. It wasn't until I had my daughter, 2009, a lot of my friends began to go to federal prison, and I was in my early 30s, and I began to look at life and didn't realize I had anything that could better my life or change my situation that I was in. So I decided to go back to school and pursue education in criminal justice. And right now, today, currently, I'm a pre-law student at Texas Wesleyan University with 2 semesters to graduate before going to law school. I'm the founder and the CEO of a youth organization that's called Hyped About Hype. And HYPE is an acronym for helping young people excel. And we traveled throughout the state of Texas speaking at a lot of the different Texas Juvenile Justice Department institution, juvenile complexes, juvenile institution, halfway houses. We speak at high schools. We speak at different counties, probation departments, juvenile facilities, as well as 2 days out of the week, I volunteer as a volunteer chaplain at the adult parole office, speaking to all newly released inmates, offenders are coming back to the Tarrant County area, pretty much giving them some knowledge and some information about going back to school and pursuing some type of trade, education, or skill. My vision is to share my story with young people in hopes of making a positive impact on their lives. I believe my message, as well as the people that's connected to my organization, as far as my colleagues, have some very powerful stories of redemption, because we all grew up in a system. We all committed very serious crimes as teenagers, and right now today we're living pro-social and productive lives, and I think it's a great example for young people. Secondly, I believe our message gives hope to staff members, juvenile workers, school teachers, probation officers, parole officers, because many of us, especially include myself, was considered one of the worst juveniles in the state of Texas based on my behavior. And I was considered one of the ones who would end up in prison or probably be dead by the time I was 25, and I was able to beat those odds based on some of the staff members, based on the programs, based on some of the probation officers that I interacted with and ran across as a juvenile. One of the unique things about Hype is we have a whole group of men who have been incarcerated from the time that they was kids until now, and have been raised by the state of Texas, who grew up in a juvenile system and went on to grow up in an adult prison system. I've been out about 17 years. I don't have any felony convictions, nor have I been inside of the adult prison system. I decided to put Hype together. Hype was founded back in 2012, May of 2012 to be exact. I decided to put Hype together because a lot of my friends from childhood had went on to prison to do 19, 20, 21, 22 years from a decision that they made as a teenager, as a child. And a lot of them began to come home in 2012, 2013, as well as 2014, some this year. And that inspired me. They gave me the inspiration and a vision to detail all our lives and put it into a package and go out with a message to give hope and inspiration to the young people who may be at risk at becoming juvenile offenders, as well as giving hope and inspiration to juvenile offenders, and just as well as young people, teens, the parents, their families, victims' families, our victims' family, as well as giving some sort of hope and encouragement and morale boost to those who work with youth or who work with juvenile offenders, because I personally believe, it's my belief, that our juvenile correctional officers are our last line of defense for society before these young children or these young teens enter back into society, back into our communities. So I put together this organization, and I believe it's powerful. I believe we can make a powerful impact on young people's lives because we've once sat in their shoes. We understand where they come from, and we're an example of how you can change your life once you make the mind up to start changing how you think, because your thinking is what dictates your actions. So that's how we started Hype. You can give us a call at 817-477-7815. My email address is cjwhite@txwes.edu. We'll be more than happy to come out to your schools, to your youth organizations, to any juvenile institutions, and sharing our story in hopes of making a positive impact on those who hear it. We have a movement, alive and free, raised by the state. Loyalty is everything. Hyped about Hype. We partner with a lot of our community organizations, a lot of our churches. So we're very active in the community, as well as inside and outside of the justice system. So that's it. I look forward to hearing back from you guys, as well as working with you and your youth. And that's it. I'm hyped about Hype. Y'all be blessed.